All right, firstly, I really want to thank everyone for being here. I'm just totally honored that you are. And today's the mini empath class and development. But first, I'm going to, give understandings about it, my understandings of what, I've learned over the years and what it really means to me personally. And first, I want to mention that if anyone is interested in appointments with me, I do them only over Zoom and telephone and FaceTime. So please do take advantage of those. Lynn was telling me a little bit earlier that I have another mini class on Tuesday, the 12th of November. And I think that's the 12th, I'm not sure.
Monday.
So it'd be, it's going to be Tuesday.
Okay.
And let's see, November, come on. It's the 10th
Oh, excuse me.
of November. 10th of November at 12 noon. And that'll be on useful healing techniques, another exciting class by Mark Ehrlichs. And so please do take advantage of that. It's a free class, and just like this is. And I just love to do those. And the other thing is on November the 26th is a course that I'm offering, and that's Unleashing Your Imagination. Please do take advantage of that as well if you have the opportunity to. And even if you don't have the opportunity for all these classes or the healing circle or for the gathering, that's also free, and any of the courses, they do have a replay on them that you can participate as far as, liking something, but you'll get to hear the full thing. So please do take advantage of those things. And so let me see here. Go to the website. Please do take advantage of that. And, sign up for the newsletter if you're not a part of that. And the information will always come to you for those things. And then let's see here. Please, if you feel it from your heart to do this, do a gifting or support. That's on the website as well. And that only not helps us to, it not only helps us to go forward in what we're doing, but it also helps other people as well who can't afford appointments, and or if they have a calling for the workshop and they can't afford it, or the appointments are the main thing that I work with, but the other is important too. And it also helps in contribution to people, that I meet on the street and stuff like that. So that happens fairly frequently. And so please, if it is within you, go ahead with that. And let's see, I don't know of anything else, any other announcements immediately. Yes, Sue?
Healing Circle tonight?
Yes, there is a healing circle tonight at 6:30. And that will be on Zoom as well. So please do sign up for that. Lynn will be sending all the notices, or you can just go to the website and sign up for it, either one. But you can sign up on a Facebook or the through the newsletter or through Lynn's email. Thanks, Sue. I forgot all about that. And I'll be working with answering some questions. It's similar to the gathering, but if people do have questions, I'll answer them. But I will be mostly working with people individually. And I know that in working with people, they're affected either immediately or in a graduated way, or information is given to them for how they can work, with themselves and or contribute to the finalization of the healing, whatever is necessary, some immediate and some over a short period of time. Can everyone hear me okay? Is this loud enough? Good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, please, initially, Patty, if you don't mind, and I'd like to ask several people too, can you please just real briefly express what you feel or think about an empath, what one is or what others have told you or what others have suggested an empath is. Patty, can you tell me, please? Give me an idea.
Yeah, I felt that people I've met in my life, they're very empathetic. They feel pain and emotions of other people. And actually, I did a while back just search on the internet, and there's like 15 things of an empath of what they have.
Wow.
And yeah, it's very interesting. It seemed to hold true to the people I've met that either told me they were empaths, or I just felt that they were feeling a lot of what other people feel.
And how do they affect a person, being an empath?
Empath?
How do they
The
affect?
empath?
Yes.
Some of the people I know, they just get, I don't know, buried alive with the emotions. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's not really good. So I think I've learned over the years from you that you don't have to take on the emotion and the pain. So that's just my knowledge of empaths, of the ones I've met or dealt with.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kathy, please, can you give me a little bit of an input, real short?
Oh, okay. Well, yes, I agree with what Patty said. Taking on, feeling other people's pain, and maybe since you're feeling that pain and empathizing with them, that you can maybe move them off of it to something else that's positive. Sorry.
You hear someone at the door.
And I first saw on Star Trek an empath, and sorry.
That's okay.
Belle, come here. Hey. Shh, shh, shh. Okay, I first saw an empath on Star Trek, and she took on Captain Kirk's pain. So that's the first time I ever heard of the word empath. And I thought, oh, I want to be that. But that's not a good thing to do.
All right. No.
Unless you can move that energy.
I understand.
Then,
Yes.
Sorry.
Awesome. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And Michelle, please. Michelle Haverson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Or afternoon for you guys.
Yeah, it is.
One of my understandings about being an empath is that you feel what other people feel, but it's not necessarily, oh, my father was a rotten guy and my teacher hated me and stuff like that. But physical pain, I'm aware that if somebody were to describe something to me, I would get an immediate adrenaline rush and like feel that. And I wouldn't want to take it on. I just borrowed it for a minute so I could relate to them. And I was aware that that was empathic, but I don't know the whole 13 things or whatever it is.
All right,
Okay.
great. And Ethel, please, if you don't mind sharing.
You know, kind of putting together what everyone said, and especially Michelle, it's being able to feel and understand, but for me, not take it on. Just know what's happening at a knowing level to be able to then, I don't know, bring balance or shift or something.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Sue, please.
I think I took a 101 class in this at one time.
But then later we talked about how empathic ideas have kind of changed to compassion. And then I know you say don't be an empath and feel somebody else's pain, because then there's two of you with pain, and what good is that? So I've
That's
never
right, I did
spent
say
a
that.
whole lot of time in that empathic world.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a doer, not a feeler, I guess.
You just go right for the target.
Right for the target. Let's get rid of it.
Sharonda, please, if you don't mind sharing a little bit.
I'm sitting here thinking I don't have experience with it. I hear the talk about it being focused on pain, and I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know, but being empathic isn't just about experiencing or sensing someone's pain. If you're in a role to be of help with healing, being aware of pain, I suppose, could be helpful, but I've never been interested in having other people's pain in my awareness. I've got enough I'm dealing with. So I'm a newbie. I do have one experience walking in a park with a friend, and I know she was empathic, and she is still. She's alive. And as we were walking, she looked at me. She said, "Was that me or you?" As if there was something she experienced emotionally, and I was like, "I don't know." Anyways, I'm here to get a crash course on being an empath, or just
Yeah,
becoming more sensitive. I'm open to opening with my sensing.
cool.
Yeah.
Jane, any understandings about empathic?
Let's see, where am I? Oh, there I am. Okay. I'm sorry. I've got company, so I'm going to be in and out of.
Oh,
the
that's
picture.
fine, hon. There's a replay on this too.
Oh, great. Oh, good. Okay. So, well, I just agree with what everybody else says, and I'm just here to learn.
All right.
Pretty
All
much.
right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Alex, my friend, any understandings? Or Christina? I don't know if y'all.
Yeah,
Oh, good, Alex. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I have to call in. My internet is stable right now, so I don't know if the video is going to work either, but apologies for that.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
I mean, a lot of what individuals have expressed, I definitely share. Yeah, just being able to pick up on someone's feelings, emotions, whatever they may be, as so. Yeah, I guess the area that I've always struggled in is identifying where those feelings are coming from, and also not being overwhelmed by those feelings, and acknowledging that they're not mine. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's see. Yeah, but I kind of see it as a mirror. I feel like I'm a mirror for a lot of people when that happens, and so I'm like acting. I feel like I'm a mirror for other people.
True. All right, awesome. And Christina, I don't know if you can talk now, but oh, there you are. Hey,
Here, I'm kind of working as I'm listening as well.
I figured that.
I kind of agree with everyone. I think there's different aspects of it. For me, I think part of it is also, it's kind of that, I think of when you walk into a room and you feel other people's energy, and it's them projecting, whether it's positive or negative, and you picking up on that.
Yes.
And I also feel that by picking up on that, at least I try to be objective and not allow them to project that energy onto me.
Yes.
And just understand that that's their story, and try to, I guess, read what they're really saying behind their words.
Yes, I totally hear you. I totally hear, and it takes the objectivity. Yes. I'm reading a note here. It says, well, I fall in meaning when I. Oh, come on. Where's the rest of this message? feeling to get an idea of what's going on with other person, I have trouble pulling myself out. A very valid point from the apprentice. Difficulty in pulling someone out. Yes. In my perspective, just in my personal perspective, for me, it's a more truer term of empath is one that can experience the emotions of others. Someone that has empathy. It's not someone that reads others' minds. It's someone that has empathy. That's where empath comes from. And we do have the ability to be around someone or a situation when there's a deep emotion of, say, another's voice, or an emotionally charged situation when there's fury or grief or pain being expressed. It's a deeply emotional moment that that we catch, and because we're witnessing it within ourselves, we're open to do that. And this can happen even when others are strangers, or if you're only witnessing or observing, or are involved in some way with these, in these situations. You're being, for that moment, empathetic. That's where empath comes from. And even prior to when there's going to be an earthquake, or even if you have the signs of having a panic attack, or even a seizure, or even a muscle spasm, you're empathic. And you're picking up on the body, or you're picking up on the earth, or you're feeling it. And that's being empath as well. So it's that extreme emotion for that moment that you're perceiving it, because you're being open to it. The empath also has the ability to easily pick up on the cues of others. But those cues lessen. Say if all of us, or as all of us, are empathic, we can pick up on the cues of others, but they lessen in our life as those cues aren't learned or honored. They lessen in us, and the ability to pick up on those cues as they're not honored or learned. And so we all have this within us. And the word empathy, or excuse me, the word empath was first used and termed in our time, I guess around the 1950s, by someone that took it and coined it from the word telepath, which was thought of and is used today as, say, someone that could read someone's mind. Back in the 50s, they used that term, or is able to communicate mind to mind. This actually is a part of our evolution, though. Many, many eons ago, we first learned to develop, as many of y'all have heard me say and express in different classes and teachings, etc., that we first learned to develop this as gut-to-gut feeling and instincts. This later, over maybe hundreds of thousands of years, developed into gut to heart. And then over maybe, who knows, thousands of years, this developed within us in our evolution from, say, heart to heart, which we're now encountering. And we're learning to process and to develop this in the heart to heart. And it's just a part of our evolutionary process. So it's natural to be empathic, in other words. And the newer and greater evolution, which has just started over the past few thousand years, is, or even a little bit less than that, it's really developing into heart to mind. And then there's a few that are the forerunners to this, and in this evolutionary process that have already begun to experience the heart to mind. And of course, in the mind to mind, which is the next step in our evolutionary process, you know, that is the next step. And that's a different form of communication that we're learning to develop into in our lives. And in the mind to mind, I've experienced maybe three others that are, say, fluent in the control of this faculty. One particular fellow, and some of y'all have heard me tell this story before, one particular fellow I met when I was a novice, and I was alone up in the brothers' quarters, and I just felt that, you know, I wanted to be alone, so I went up there, and then he came up, and he introduced himself to me. He was a priest, and I didn't know, I was always told that priests and novices don't intermix and become friends and all this other stuff. Everyone hung out with their own groups. And so as he was up there, I looked at him and I'm wondering, why is this guy up here? And he smiled, and I was thinking that, why is he up here? Why did he introduce himself to me and just start looking at me? What does he want? And he says, well, you want to know? And, you know, he was thinking I was thinking this stuff, and he's answering my thoughts. And I didn't understand at first what he was doing. And he was in the telepathic, he was using the empathic with me. And then I finally caught on after a couple minutes of being totally quizzical, not understanding where he was coming from, what he was sharing with me. And then I said to myself, wow, he can hear my thinking. And he smiled and he nodded his head. And so I was wondering, you know, as footloose free as I was in my life and my thinking and stuff like that, I was thinking that, wow, I would learn to love to do this. And he said, well, I don't know if you would, but I was thinking that. And he says, I don't know if you would. And I said, why not? And he says, well, to me, it's like having the old, back then it was a transistor radio. It's like a transistor radio. When you're tuning it, you're getting maybe 5 stations at one time. And that's what he was going through in his entire life. And I said, I'd still love to do it. I can control it. And so after we said our adieus, he went down again. And I told, the next day I saw him again for the second time ever. And I went up to him and I said, you know, last night I had a dream that I saw you and your wife and your 2 children downstairs in the dining room, and I described them, and I'd never seen him before. I'd only been in the order for maybe a week, and I never saw him before prior to that. And he just looked at me and smiled. He says, get out of my head. And so, and that was it. That was the last time I saw him, matter of fact. But I have had contact with him, matter of fact. But it works through the empathic. And a couple of days ago, ironically, a friend of mine also in the order, he was telling me a story, and we talk all the time, and he was telling me of a story of this another sister in the order that also had the abilities or faculties of being able to delve into that world that she was born with. And she was also, besides this other fellow, which he expressed, that's why he's in the order, to learn how to control it. And for this other sister that my friend knew in the order, she was learning also to control these faculties. So empath actually started in description from the ancient Greeks. And they believed that you could send messages through dreams. And they prescribed to that, and they believed in that. But their world was more of a superstitious world. And then other various waves of, say, tribals and societies and cults and orders and sects continued in its superstitions and also the formations into actual manifestation of this tool and how to develop it. Because, well, before I go there, it's the origin of empathy actually started back in the New Thought during the time of the European and United States around the upper 1800s. And that's where people took the telepathy, and one person developed or had the idea, let's coin the term empath from the term telepathy. So that's where a lot of people today in our society believe that we're that empaths are mind readers. So this is just a little bit of the history of it. But these things mentioned don't make empath or telepathy a fantasy. Not at all. There's a reality behind it. And just with something in mind, even in thought of desiring to be an empath, then we're evolving into it. If we have the thought of it, that means we're evolving into it because it's a natural part of us. And if we desire it deeply enough, it can develop. And it's an ability that we have the availability to develop into. But it takes years of devotion, or excuse me, of, I'd say, devoted practice and development through focus, and to purposefully indulge at sometimes in it. And then we get to test it out. We all have it within us. And it's nothing to necessarily be feared about. So if we do fear it, then we're fearing what we've been taught to fear and what others have told us their connotation, what empath is or telepath is. Initially and for a long time, even as we devote ourselves to the art of it, we only get maybe sometimes little snippets of its experiences. We can't maintain it. And if we were able to, we'd be really the cat's meow, and we'd be very, very evolved in many ways, which I won't go into. But we only can maintain it for little snippets of time. And many people that claim to be empaths or telepaths are only just to be at that place for a little snippets of time, even though they claim it, because they've had some experiences of it. And it's through their desire that they start to get a few more snippets of people's lives. So when someone tells me that they're an empath and, you know, they're not showing me instead of just telling me in their life, if that makes sense. They aren't capable of maintaining that ability for less than a thought of a time. It's not constant. It's not a more of a truer sense of the term empath. Many of these people that claim to be empaths are taking this to a place of claiming something that they're not, and even being psychic. And so unless they can show me in the moment and not tell me about it, it's in my life, in my world, it's not real yet, or it's not solid yet, I should say. Not to demean those people, because they've had experience, which is great, but they're only snippets of experience. And it's all the time, and not when they, you know, are in front of someone, giving someone a reading or something like that. I don't necessarily go there myself. Though the empath, on the other side of that, I don't remember the whole study, but at one time, a long time ago, maybe about 8 to 10 years ago, there was it was an American medical school and someone from Harvard, if I remember correctly, that designed an experiment, and it was literally for the purpose of people that were incapacitated and unable to talk or communicate. That's what they designed that experiment for. And they, of course, designed this experiment starting and trying it with 2 selective and fully functioning people, but it was for the purpose of later developing it for people that were incapacitated and couldn't talk. And one person sent a code that denoted deep emotion in an email to another person that was totally blindfolded. And the blindfolded person was actually able to perceive the flashes that indicated those words of deep, deep emotion. And it affected them. And I still, till today, I don't know anymore, but one time since I heard that they were still working with this to develop it. And it was in the understanding of empathy, and the communication happened in that in the blindfolded person that was helpless in that sense. So they're still working on that experiment, to my understanding. I'm not sure anymore. In the world, there's many empaths, and yet there's still less than few that are cognizant of this. And they're the ones that can understand what you're expressing and even describe it, even though they might not have had your experience. They can understand what you're expressing because of their deep concern that's innate within them, even though they won't know your experience itself. And from the expression, they get the understandings of your experience without knowing the exact experience, if that makes sense. And they are expressing the feeling of what you experienced, though. Not always able to pick up on the experiences that created the emotion itself. The true empath can share a true relationship with you. They're deep in their empathy, in their feelings. And they're also not non-judgmental, as many of y'all have expressed in different words. They can take things to heart. And an empath can surely settle to live mostly alone in their life. A very true aspect of them. And they can see the world from your perspective. They also don't allow their inner critic into their lives. They won't allow the negating of themselves too deeply, as they've learned to do over a long period of time. And in quiet time, it's their important time in their life. Please understand that. And the experienced empath doesn't know how even to begin to express what they can do. It's very difficult for them to express their abilities of the empathy and the depth of their empathy, and most often won't even express it at all. Or if they do begin to express it, they'll only express a part of it. So most of their life will either be alone in life or choose to be with someone that actually won't have the ability to, that they won't have the necessity to express to. That's the kind of people they'll be with. And that won't even bother asking about it. So, but, you know, they've had to learn this through disappointments in life. And they grew up with it. And it's usually a shock trauma, not all the time. Some people are born with it. but it's usually a shock trauma that brings it on in life, that opens the door for that, where that membrane is broken that they're brought into. And it's usually through the disappointments of life. And this is the great secret that they carry. It's rare to find a real, true working empath. Very, very rare. But my question always had been, what can an empath do for you? What's the use of an empath? And I think the greatest attribute is to listen and give themselves to someone more than most are capable of giving. That's all that I know. But, you know, and I haven't ever been able to find another use for just empath. And it's made to be a tool, though, and to be used with other tools. That's my understanding of it. Most of the people that call themselves empaths are really what I refer to as sensitives. And a lot of people get that term empath mixed up with the term sensitive, or the understanding of being a sensitive. And often others are affected by others' energies and often get discombobulated out of kilter around other people. They're mostly sensitives. And a lot of people call themselves empaths, which it may not be their full place to develop into. So they're experiencing and what the soul's brought them into in this life. So they're experiencing the sensitivities versus what they're confusing as to be what others call empaths. So, and a lot of people will call themselves empaths when they're really sensitives, in other words. And which is just not their place to experience the true empathic qualities this time. Maybe they were last time, who knows? So some people have psychic moments and learn to look at the signs and are able to get an occasional hit and call themselves empaths or psychics without even learning to control and develop their sensitivities, which could potentially lead into eventually empathic tendencies. So in other words, we have this, say if we are even sensitives, then if we have also, say, psychic moments that we are able to, for the moment, see signs to get an occasional hit with someone, then that can also help to develop the empathic tendency. And so there's lots of ways to go around it and to develop it and to learn about it and to have the experience of it. But they don't grow, most people won't grow in that tendency because they're afraid to adopt and to adapt to the growth, in thinking that they'll forget or lose or misplace the ability to get hits anymore. They're afraid of it. Does this make sense so far? All right, good. And for whatever reasons, it may even give them a temporary attention from other people's or other people at times. It'll just give them a temporary attention from people at times. But empaths grow and go by experiencing feelings. That's the main quality. And they may learn from survival, say at an early age, in what to do to not absorb other people's emotions. Many people write about this, many people talk about this, and everyone is correct in their understanding of it. I even knew of 5 years ago, and now we're speaking about the development of it. About 5 years ago, I even knew of a doctor that was able to literally properly diagnose his patients' pains and discomforts that they didn't know how to express. He experienced, without the destructive part, literally their pains and emotions, and felt those energies and diseases in his body without being hurt, because he knew how to develop it and not to take it on unnecessarily. We're taught in our memories from other experiences to take on other people's pains and injuries. You can't really, but we don't know that, so we believe we have to create some kind of a hurt within ourselves. The important part that the true empaths can do is to recognize themselves, that they are, or that they have the tendency, firstly, as a sensitive, and then that develops, they can see themselves developing into an empath, where you don't have to go through the growing pains so direfully, so harmfully as a sensitive, but can develop into the empath. And they can be there for others that do go through the traumatic situations of their lives. And they can absorb the emotion of another in knowing that it isn't them. That's the only true way to absorb the pain of another person, is to know that it isn't them, which is one of my main teachings, to understand that you don't have to take on other people's cooties. They're not real, basically. They're not real in you. Nor were they real in the other person. It was just a perception that they learned. They can do this being objective in their sight, being objective without the physical and emotional pain from others. But it has to be learned in the experience of their life. You have to first go through being the sensitive, and then go through finding out what a true empath is. And that's through the wisdom of it, through the experience. First the experience of it, then the knowing, and then it turns into wisdom. But it has to be an experienced piece of life. And it has to get easier, and it does get easier if you're incorporating other tools, like, say, in my forte is working with healing. And you can utilize it, the empathy. You can utilize taking something from someone and even incorporating it into you. As some people have seen this, and some people have heard me tell stories about this. And that, say, people in the healing circles or in appointments were coming to me, and I would kind of show off. And I would take the pain from the body or disease from the body and put it into me, and people would be gasping, "Oh my God, you're going to get this." No, not at all. It's taking it out of them and putting it in me, where it's transformed, because I know otherwise. That's all that I'm doing. I know otherwise, a different wisdom, and that's more real in my life. And so it's easier when you use as you develop into the truer empathy, that you can, if you utilize it and learn to incorporate it, say, with healing, which a lot of you all have the ability to work with, all of you. And it can be developed by doing those things. And even then, you get to find yourself, and you're less prone to living out the sensitivities only, which are chaotic. And you're less prone to being isolated in some respects, or feeling and believing the lack in your life. You won't have to go through that trauma in your life of feeling lack or isolation. But you can still be alone and be glad for it. Even though there's disappointment in it, you can still be alone. And those that are learning the various gifts within them, they carry the empathetic qualities, the qualities of the empath. And they carry it within them, and they learn to hone their craft. The empathic develops into a useful tool that you can learn to hone and to wield. And you carry it as a wiser person, or what makes a person wise. So I want to thank everyone here. Oh my God. I want to thank everyone here and for listening. And please listen to the recording again if you have an opportunity. Hey, Ray, good to see you. Good to see you. And please do watch the replay, everyone. And thank you so much. And take advantage of these things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Shane, good to see you. All right, everyone. 1 second here. Let me say Shane just got on, and I'm waiting for him to connect, which will take a moment. But all right.
Is this time thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and it is the mini class. So I'm really grateful that everyone was here. Thank you so much for being here. And it's been my honor. Any questions, please feel free to text them. We do have the Healing Circle tonight. Please participate. It's going to be exciting for me, and I can't wait. And I hope it's exciting and experiential for you all too. And so, all right, everyone. And tomorrow we have the gathering. Don't forget that. And please do take advantage of that. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And thank you. I appreciate everyone being here. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye.